So if they exist, because sometimes our limits to infinity do not exist, it wants us to state the values of the limit as x approaches negative infinity of this function, and the limit as x approaches infinity of this function. So this is the same function we were looking at before. It just wants to know, as x gets smaller and smaller and smaller, what happens to my y value? Or as x gets larger and larger and larger, what happens to my y value? So let's start with as x approaches negative infinity. So as my x gets smaller and smaller and smaller, the question we ask ourselves is, what is the y value doing? What is the y value approaching or trying to approach? We can see it's trying to approach this asymptotic line right here. So this asymptote, which happens at -1. So we just say that the limit of this function is -1. If we switch over to the other side of the graph, meaning we want x to get larger, so we're looking at the right-hand side of this graph now. So as my x value gets larger and larger and larger, again, the question we're asking ourselves is, what happens to the y value? Well, we can see that the y value is still approaching this asymptote, just from the other side. So we can say also that the limit as x approaches infinity is -1.